All right, here we go. We're back. Morse Code Podcast, episode 86. 86 Celtics.
I was gonna say it was a good year for everyone involved on this show.
You and I specifically.
Yeah,
big year for me. I wasn't born. I know you were, but 86 was a great year. Yeah. I saw this as well. It's 5-year anniversary of Life of Pablo, album by Kanye West.
Yeah.
Co-produced by Pablo Escobar. I don't know. I didn't look that part up. I just always assumed.
I thought it was brought to you by the same producers as The Game of Life, the board game.
That's Milton Bradley, I'm pretty sure. Not to be confused with the baseball player Milton Bradley. Pablo Escobar. Life of Pablo is a good album. I thought it was actually older than 5 years. That was a little surprising to me, but I think that is, like, in retrospect, now that I think back to it, and I was listening to it earlier today, I think that's a good album. It has more songs I like than I don't like, and that's kind of like the benchmark for me, what I consider a worthwhile album.
Yep. Yeah.
Hell of a concert too.
Great concert.
Great experience overall. For our real deep dive fans who've been following us for quite some time, that was the concert we've probably mentioned a few times. Can
you just tell your version of the story quickly? I won't interject at all.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell the listeners what happened.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We were at a bar prior to the Life of Pablo concert in Boston. It was in the summer. I think it was in August. Which, again, seriously, it was a great concert. And
shout out to Jad.
Yeah. Oh, great call. Shout out to good friend of the program, Jad Namani, hooked us up with tickets to that concert
that we supposedly won, right?
Yeah. All right, here we go. So that's right. You weren't there that night. So this is a pretty good story. So Jad Namani, who's been on our show multiple times, local listeners obviously know who he is since he's a local legend. This was when we all lived back in Dover, New Hampshire. Jad would host, I don't know if this was like trivia or he was just DJing at a local watering hole we used to frequently attend. And Jad worked in the radio industry and would often have tickets to these shows. And he's like, yo, I got 2 tickets to Pablo. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, can I have some? And he's like, well, I'm actually raffling them off tonight. I'm like, all right, whatever. So the night led on one thing to another, had a few drinks, great time. Eventually it came down to like a dance contest, I think. And I think it was like a Backstreet Boys or In Sync was the song. And I was like, all right, bro, like, this is how I need to get these tickets. I need to get these tickets. So I got into a dance off with someone else. I actually don't think I won, but then I just like kind of pleaded with Jad for the tickets. He ended up giving them to me. I invited you, and that brought us to the concert. But the story I was alluding to that I'm pretty sure we've mentioned on the show, if not, we mentioned on the old show. We were at I think we were at Hurricane O'Reilly's, right?
Yep.
Okay. Just having a few drinks before the show, like it always does. I also remember that show was very postponed, like hour by hour. It kept getting pushed back and back and back, which probably didn't help the scenario now that I think about it.
Was that also the instance where we had the bartender who looked a lot like TKA, or am I thinking of another instance?
That might have been Jay-Z, where we also went to Hurricane O'Reilly's with Ari and some other friends. One or the other. There is a bartender who at a time worked at Hurricane O'Reilly's who looks very much like recent friend of the program, Mark TKA, who you could also make the argument looks like The Weeknd. Mm-hmm. Worked there as well. So I guess he just must have a familiar face. But anyway, that Pablo concert, that was when Soapy ended up having a little too much to drink, had to puke, did the only reasonable thing, spewed in his beer, went to the bathroom. Oh no, my bad. It was that's what happened, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And then I mistakenly grabbed the wrong can. Happens all the time. Had a sip. Immediately realized I'm not drinking a delicious Miller Lite. I'm drinking pre-app puke mixed with Miller Lite. Spit it out. And then all things considered, was a really great concert. Probably the best concert I've been to in recent time.
That was 2016, right? Yeah, I think so.
That makes sense. If this was the 5-year anniversary, then yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think if it came out in February, it's probably that summer was the tour. Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that was interesting. I remember being gone in the men's room for a while.
Yep.
What felt like 5 minutes to me, I came back out and you're like, yeah, it was like 15, 20 minutes. Like, where the fuck were you?
And that's when it hit me. Then it was like, gotcha.
This makes more sense.
Started here, finished there. Nothing was the same. Shout out Drake. Nothing was the same since. But anyway,
there's salsa in this one.
Yeah, that was a different one. But anyway, so shout out that album. That was like, I was thinking today, that's like, it's a good album, but it's like, I think it was right when, how do I want to word this? I think it would have been better appreciated if it was like Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, and then Life of Pablo. Because I think it was kind of mixed in where he was going a little off the reservation.
Yeah, I'm looking up the
I think Jesus was
right now.
Prior to that, right?
Yep.
And I think Jesus is where a lot of people cut a hard line in the sand.
Yeah, because that was 13.
Terrific. Yeah. Okay. I got it right here. Just listening to it earlier. Opens up with Ultra Beam Light, pretty good. Father Stretch My Hands is, I think, an all time. Part 2 is Slept On. Famous is an all time.
Yep.
Real Friends is great. Wolves is great. No More Parties in LA is great. Facts is great. Fade is great. St. Pablo is phenomenal. And then there's a couple other like interludes and stuff. But like I said, it's a good, I think at this point, a good benchmark is if you like the majority of the songs on the album, you don't have to skip them. Why wouldn't you consider that a good album?
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of stuff that comes out now where it's like, wow, this stinks. But there's a couple of good songs off of it.
Yeah, I'm looking here and just like doing a quick scan. There's not too many that I would skip over. Like if you force me to listen, would I enjoy it? Like I liked Waves actually.
Yeah, Waves is good. They're all like if you played this from beginning to end and I wasn't able to skip, I'd be fine with that. Definitely worse options.
I thought the beat in Wolves was really good. Especially there's like I feel like there's 2 or 3 different sections of that song almost. Yeah. Like where the beat goes in and out. Yeah, that was really good.
Very good song.
Real Friends is
Facts.
Yeah, Real Friends is really good.
Real Friends is a good song. Sick beat. No More Parties in LA is very good. And I think we named all the other ones. Famous, like I said, Father Stretch My Hands and Famous, I think are like up there in the all-time Kanye songs. They just happen to be on this album.
Yeah, and then
like I don't expect him to release a song that good and ever again.
No.
At this point, obviously.
Those two get used so much in commercials and memes and shit.
Father Stretch
My Hands.
I like them though. Like we talked about this before, like the basketball memes. You time it up right. Those are great.
Yep.
Those are great. It's Valentine's Day.
It sure is.
Saint Valentine himself.
Couldn't get him on the show, so we did the next best thing.
Good.
Which is
I saw his cameo rate is quite high. I can't afford it. And if I can't afford it, God knows you can't afford it. So just us.
Really weird. It's part of me doesn't like that Cameo exists because
Cameo is wild.
Some of the people that I would want to talk to and would love to have on this show, they would just like refer you to their Cameo. Because for instance, I looked up who was it? Walter McCarty, and it was weird. He has 2 rates. Yeah,
everybody's on Cameo.
He has 2 rates, and it says like $14.99 for a DM. So I don't know what the hell that means. And then $229.99 for basically like a fill in the blank. But I've seen other athletes who do it and say, you know, if you want me to come on your podcast, do an interview with you, it'd be $149.99. I'm like, no, I'm good.
And let's say this for the record, hand to God, we have not paid for anyone on our show.
Never,
ever. Swear to God. And I say this all the time. We've had close personal friends of the program come on here who are on Cameo. Scott Hansen.
That's true.
Who else?
Yeah, Scott Hansen.
Other guys where it's like, I almost feel bad. It's like, ooh.
Who was the second one you said?
I thought Dean Blandino. No.
Dean, yep. Maz is.
There's got to be more. Maz is on Cameo. Yep, absolutely. Felger doesn't understand what Cameo is, so he's certainly not on there. But yeah, Cameo is very strange. Now that I think about it, it really is like the ultimate side hustle for any. Well, it's tough. I was going to say washed up celebrity, but those guys we just named certainly aren't washed up celebrities. But there's plenty of washed up celebrities on Cameo.
It's the new driving Uber.
Seriously. It's like you could be sitting in your living room and get a request, and I could make anywhere from $30 to $1,000 just for recording a quick video. Why wouldn't you want to do that? But there's some people who bother, and I've tweeted this before. There's some people who I don't get. Tyreek Hill is on Cameo for $1,000. I don't know why. And it's like, could go a couple ways here. It's like, A, does Tyreek Hill really need this extra money? And B, it's like, you're Tyreek Hill. Like, why don't you just give it to charity or like do this stuff here and there for free? Or like, is that part of like your financial plan? Like every year, like your Cameo revenue?
Yeah, that's bizarre.
We should go on Cameo. We're throwing away way too much free content. We should go on Cameo.
We should. I'll wish someone a happy birthday for $1.
I would do it for $1. What was I gonna say? Oh, Valentine's Day. How was your Valentine's Day weekend day?
It was fine. I actually went to a birthday, I guess brunch.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but that's kind of besides the point.
Okay. You had something you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
I'll let you handle Valentine's Day since you're the romantic one in the relationship, in the partnership.
Yes, The Bachelor. This was 2000. I want to say it was 2015 or 16. So sometime around the life of Pablo. So I used to work at a retail cell phone store, and I told this on the previous show also. So we're just gonna retell.
Well, let's just say this: we're getting into we're talking bad dates, right?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't had one, so I'll let you go right ahead.
Oh, batting 1,000. I certainly am not batting 1,000. So at the time I worked at a cell phone store, and in the same plaza, there's a Starbucks, and I used to go there all the time, not to get coffee, but like I would go get shit for other people, just like looking for like time to get out of the store. But anyways, there was a employee who I was like, yeah, to steal Tyler's words, a respectable lady. And like after a coworker
of yours,
huh?
A colleague of yours?
No, someone who worked at the Starbucks.
Oh, my bad. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't remember the story at all. So go ahead.
So yeah, I saw her a couple times, and I think after a while, she just knew that I was a regular. And then eventually, she started coming into my store, which is actually kind of funny to be a regular at a cell phone store.
Buy coffee.
Huh?
Just get her morning cell phone.
Espresso.
Don't talk to me till I've had my cell phone. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'd like a tall iPhone 12, please.
I'll take 12, please.
A grande Android. So yeah, she comes over, and eventually like we started chatting, and I figured like take the hint. So
I don't number. Serious question. What is the justification for coming into a cell phone store more than like once or twice?
So she had an issue with her phone, and it just like kept happening. But I honestly don't think it was more than 2 or 3 times that she came in. Okay. But she asked for you specifically?
Either or she did, at least recognized you from going to Starbucks?
Yeah. And so she would like start talking to me even if I was helping someone else.
That's great.
Very rude. So so yeah, exchange numbers. And then she asked me if I wanted to go to dinner, and I went to where was it? Was it the Copper Door? It was either the Copper Door or a equally like kind of bougie place, but whatever. It's not like super expensive, anything like that. But anyways, before the dinner, it was the day of, and like we were supposed to meet at 6 or 7. She calls me around 5, probably just making sure that I wasn't going to bail. And then she goes, should I bring my purse? Oh, no, should I bring my wallet? And I was like, what? What? And I just said no, because what else was I supposed to say?
Yeah. Well, were you planning on not paying?
No, I was planning on paying. It's just a weird question.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird to put it out there.
Yeah, especially like when I know that's
but it's also a fair question.
Your mind.
Yeah, I think it's fair too. I mean, I don't know if we have any female listeners who are still sticking around to listen to us. If so, it is interesting because it's like, I mean, I would at least bring it. But I think nowadays, when I say nowadays, I mean, I don't know, 5 years ago, I would, as a man, I go into a first date planning on paying. I don't know if it's reciprocal. Women or the other party assume they're not paying. So that's actually interesting. But I would assume the person who invited me on the date was paying.
Yeah, I assume the same. It was just that was just crazy like etiquette to ask me the first thing like, hey, I'm about to leave my house. I got everything ready.
It's probably like a test.
I can just leave my wallet at home, right? Like I'm not.
It might be a test. Like if you said like, yeah, bring it. Like we'll split the check. She probably would have been like, nah, something suddenly came up. Can't make it.
Yeah, I would have been like The Rock and just bring it.
When in doubt, just bring it. If like we had like GIFs and memes back then, that'd have been the perfect response.
Oh yeah. She would have hit me with that. Or no, I would have had to hit her with that.
That's what I mean. When in doubt, baby, just bring it. So what did you say?
So I said yes. I think I may have.
Jesus.
Wait.
You told her to bring her wallet?
No. I said no. Okay. Yeah, I said no, and I mean, if you listen to the barber and the other story, the Kirby story, I said no. Okay. So we go, I pick her up, and
real quick, sorry, it's not really should I bring my wallet? It's like should I bring my credit card? Because you're not gonna leave everything at home. You're not gonna leave your ID at home,
right? Yeah.
So it's just
should I bring any currency?
Feeling you out. Yeah. Should I bring cash? What are we looking at here?
Do I need my Bitcoin or what?
Yeah. You're planning on paying.
Stonks.
Yeah. Should I keep my Robinhood account open? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I got to reset my password. Should I do that now?
Or is this going to be like a thing?
The food was awful.
Where'd you go?
I don't think it was the Copper Door. It was another. Oh, that's what it was. It was Murphy's. Sorry, Murphy's. If you're
in Manchester,
they opened up a new location in Bedford, in this huge like farmhouse, and at the time it was brand new. So like I think a lot of people want to go there. Whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, the food was just. I remember I got something that was. It was mainly chicken breast, and I don't know what else was with it, and it was the plainest thing that I ever had. But I don't like to. I'm not going to complain to like a wait staff or whatever. I just deal with it, and I'll get food again later. Yeah. And she looks at me and she's like, "Oh, how do you like your food?" And I was like, "It's okay. It's kind of plain." And she goes, "Oh, really?" It's like, "Yeah, but not a big deal. Like I'll deal with it." And she goes, "Oh, I would definitely say something." And I was like, "No, I'm good. Like I never do that, so we're fine." And the waitress comes around to just ask how everything is or whatever. And this girl who's, I don't know, like a little shorter than me, looks a little more like, I guess on the timid side. She was like, yeah, my food's good, but he doesn't really like his. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what?
Right under the bus.
Yeah. Thanks for making this awkward. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, it was a little plain, but it's fine. And my date was like, no, he says that it's like pretty bland. So is there anything that you guys can do about this? I'm like, dude, thanks. Thanks for like really putting me out there.
No kidding.
So yeah, and then I think it pretty much the rest of the night was fine. I'm trying to remember, like, did they comp my food? They may have.
Strange on a first date.
Yeah,
first time you guys hung out together, like outside of Starbucks or Verizon.
Yeah, you don't need to fucking step in for me.
Very. Boy, I don't know. I think that initial question might have set the tone about, like, do I bring my wallet? She seems like she likes to be on the forefront of the action.
Yeah, take control type of person.
Take control. Yep. Mine's fine. Buddy to my right didn't care for the chicken.
Yeah,
Soapy,
mine
you
was
were
great.
saying?
Mine was great. You see how much chicken is left on his fucking plate, though?
Man.
Yeah, yeah, dude, it was
Good,
so
Soapy.
awkward. I hate that.
Tell them what you just told me. Don't hold back.
Say how
Oh
you really
man,
feel.
that's uncomfortable. I'm the same way, bro. I just don't see. I know how to pick my battles. It's not worth it. Like if I really want to control it, I just won't ever come back there again and order
Yeah,
the same
it's
meal.
not the fucking wait staff's
What's
fault,
the benefit?
and I'm not going to make them feel bad about it.
It's like arguing a call like with the umpire. They're not going to just change it to a strike. So what's the point? I don't know.
There were
Tough look.
There
So
were
anyway,
also...
you guys have been going like 5 years strong at this point. Crazy.
No, I did recently see on Facebook that she's happily impregnated.
Oh boy.
So
by that waiter? No way.
Well, it was a waitress, but it is now 2021.
Ooh,
so
even spicier.
Who the hell knows?
Well, in vitro fertilization. Okay, cool.
This is a big IVF podcast.
Big pro IVF podcast. Wowzers. What a full circle.
Really quick, there were 2 other questions that I just remembered that I was asked over text message in the days leading up.
Go ahead.
One was something like, and I was, let's see, how old was I at the time? 27. So that's 15. Not too young.
27. Yeah.
But still, she asked me like when I would consider having kids, like not necessarily with her, but just in my life. And she also asked me what my goals were.
This is way better than the initial story. How many kids do you want prior to the first date?
No, it was more something like, when do I see them in my future? And I was like, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Can I fix your fucking phone or what?
Is 7 o'clock still good or what? Wow, that's wild. That's a big one.
And then what was the other?
Me and my wife didn't talk about that till like the night
day of the birth,
conceiving Carter. Yeah, that's a big one. What was the other one? Your goals?
Yeah, basically like where. Oh, it was almost like an interview. It was like
I would have responded. I would have responded with a link to my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah,
like here you go.
See here.
I don't know. Knock yourself.
This should answer all your questions.
Yikes.
The other thing was what was the other thing?
There's more?
Oh, it was after the date. It was after the date when clearly like
here we go.
My mood had soured. And I just dropped her off. Or did she meet at my house? Oh no, we both met at the restaurant. So okay, I didn't have to drive her anywhere.
Easy exit.
Just like I gave her a polite little hug. Mm-hmm. That was it. And that was the last I ever saw of her. But I remember like the night after, later that night, she's like, "Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Like I was wondering why you didn't kiss me." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Like I was a little nervous, and I was scared that you didn't want to. And and really, she was, and obviously, really, I was like, no, I wasn't scared. I didn't fucking want to.
Nice. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
So that is tough though, when like you court someone from like a mutual place you go to all the time. So did you just stop going to Starbucks?
Yes.
It's tough. It's tough. Even more of a challenge when you meet someone at a place you really like. That's a big commitment.
Yeah. Luckily, yeah, like I said, I don't drink
coffee. There's Starbucks all over the place. And you don't drink coffee. So that's an easy one. That's an easy exit strategy.
I don't know if she needed any more help with her phone, but hopefully she found a different store.
Hopefully. Yeah, I don't know, man. I know it's like a popular time for podcasts and shows to talk about bad dates and Valentine's Day stories and stuff. I don't know. I don't really have any. I mean, our followers, like, this is going to come hard to believe, but I haven't really been on that many dates. I haven't really, been around the block too many times. So I've been happily with my current wife, my first wife, for the past almost 10 years. So I don't know. I have heard some good ones. Shout out. We got some close personal friends like Hurricane and Scoob and those guys, and nothing like that.
Yeah. Suze.
Yeah, that's a great story, dude. I will say that is one of probably the more awkward parts of a date. Cause like, I don't know. Again, it's been a while, but I feel like people don't really date anymore. Like you just eventually you talk and then you eventually just hang out. So the first time you actually go somewhere when like a bill is involved, that can get uncomfortable. But I just think the easy fix is just pay for it. That solves everything. It becomes uncomfortable when there's any sort of hesitation whatsoever as far as splitting a bill or anything like that. So typically it's in the guy's control to just pay for it, because that's at the end of the day what's not expected, but that's an easy fix.
Yeah.
It gets weird when it just sits there and you're like, oh, I don't know. You want to split it? You want to break up the items? I don't know.
So you had the Coke and the chicken fingers.
Yeah. Garcon, we got a little itemization to do here.
Yeah, you put this in order of everything that she had first, right?
Yeah, there should be two of these, no? 2 people, 1 bill. I don't follow what's going on here. I don't know what you think this is. But yeah, all right, good story. I don't remember that at all. That was from the old show. You mentioned that story?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet memories of years past.
Speaking of relationships in sports, God damn it, let's touch on this first. I mentioned this last time. We should touch on the Celtics. We are Celtics fans. Unfortunately, there's not much to talk about. This weekend really stunk. Friday night loss at home to the Pistons. Trek on down to the Capitol and get smoke showed by the Wizards today. Not great. Anything good you want to take out of this, or anything worth even talking about? Jalen looked pretty good. I don't know.
The box score was interesting to look at because it was
box score stinks. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
It was roughly Jalen 25, Kemba 21 to 25, something like that. And then everyone else. I saw Aaron Nesmith played 29 minutes and scored 5 points. I don't think he looked too hot on like defense or actually offense either, clearly.
Buddy, Tatum didn't play that many fewer minutes. Tatum played 23 minutes and had 6 points. Shot an astounding 3 of 14 from the field. Did have 8 boards. Great.
All right. Cleaning up the house.
Semi played 31 minutes.
Let me guess, his production was extremely high. If I know anything about Semi.
He had 3 points. He pulled the old N'Keal Harry. More fouls than points. 4 fouls, 3 points. Couple of boards.
He played 30 minutes?
31 minutes. Started.
That's not bad. That's a point every 10 minutes.
That's not bad at all. Yeah. And then a minute to like breathe and like catch up. Yep. 1 for 6 from 3. Oh, this can't be right. Now that I'm like rewatching the game in my head, this sounds exactly right. Semi went 1 for 6 from 3. Ironically enough, went 1 for 6 from the field. So perimeter Semi today.
Yeah.
Somehow got 2 rebounds.
I'm sure he was just standing in the corner all game because that's where he is.
Yeah, well, he pretty much did. God, that's a lot of minutes. God, he played more minutes than anyone. And you're right, Kemba had a good game, but I said this earlier today. It's like Kemba pisses me off because he will only have a good game when everyone else thinks, like the Lakers game. Yeah. Like there's another one on that West Coast trip where it's like he has these terrible stat lines and we lose by 3, or we get killed by a terrible team and Kemba has, like I said, 25 points in a pretty efficient night. That's super frustrating. Tatum had some foul trouble. I'll give him that, whatever. 6 points isn't a great look anytime. But still, it's like this is not good production. The bench stinks. There's so many people on the bench who scored less than 5 points. Everyone did, actually, except Aaron Nesmith scored 5. Rob Williams, big shot Rob, got 5. Peyton Pritchard had 4, 0 for 3 from 3. Carson Edwards hit a 3. Jeff Teague didn't even fucking play. Coach's decision. That's not great. That was a great offseason move. And then the only other thing I'll say is Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson's driving me absolutely bonkers because I think he had a pretty good West Coast trip, those 5 games, which we can talk about real quick, but I'm just not seeing it. Like he had 8 rebounds and 2 points doesn't make sense, because I saw at least 2 or 3 offensive rebounds, and this has been happening for quite a while, where he makes a good effort to get an offensive rebound and he's right there and just couldn't miss more on a putback or something. And it's like, if that's the case, what's the point of the offensive rebound? You might as well just not get it and then just get back on defense.
Yeah, just run back on defense, Tristan.
Yeah, it's like I've seen on Twitter way too many times. Anytime Miles Turner is brought up, the defense is, well, look how we got Tristan way cheaper, and look how he's playing. Okay, yes, way cheaper. But to your point, look how he's playing. Like, you can't have both. And again, I don't think if we got Miles Turner, it'd be, we'd be the first place in the East, but 3 blocks a game I would take. I think that'd be pretty chill. And someone who's, I don't know, inept on offense would be nice in the block. It's just like, if you're a center who doesn't shoot threes, it's like, it's just like the narrative is you stink. That's not true. Like, they're rare, but there are still centers in the NBA.
Yeah.
There's like 3 of them, but they're still there. And Tristan's
funny
not
how
one of them.
People are like, yeah, we got him for 30% of the cost and only 5% of the production. Well, what more do you want?
That's just good economics. What else do you want? We're almost, actually, Christ, they're not almost. They are 500, 13-13. So they lost to a 6-win team on Friday and lost to a six-win team today. Not great at all. And here's the other narrative all over Twitter is Marcus Smart. I like Marcus Smart, but Marcus Smart doesn't make up for a 25-point deficit in the third quarter to the Nets, or to the Wizards, rather. Yeah. If he did, he wouldn't be Marcus Smart. He would be someone much better. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, I don't know. Great win Friday, or whenever it was, against the Raptors. I don't know. That was promising. Coming off of that West Coast road trip. And that West Coast road trip kind of pissed me off too, because it's like, I said sarcastically on the show going into it, I could see them going 0-5. But if they were to go 2-3, I didn't see those wins coming against the Clippers and the Warriors.
Yeah.
They lost to the Kings. And shout out, I saw good follow the program, Sean Conrad out west, who's a Kings fan. I put on the poll, like, what do you want to talk about? What are your surprises? He's like, well, why don't you talk about the Kings and De'Aaron Fox? No problem. Kings have been playing pretty good. They beat the Celtics. I think they won like 8 in a row, or like 7 of 8 or something. I think Tyler mentioned this on one of the fun reports too. He was talking about his baby boy, De'Aaron Fox, who's been playing well. I think he's up there in the fourth quarter scoring. And then Halliburton too is playing like rookie of the year right now. I think, actually, I pulled this up earlier. Let me find it real quick. I think he is leading 3-point field goal percentage among point guards. Bear with me one second. He is quite good. I do like him. I'll put this hot take out there. He's out playing Aaron Nesmith.
I was gonna say, I think I know where I stand in terms of the Halliburton versus Nesmith debate.
It's back and forth, but right now it's like 50.1 to 49.9.
Yeah, it's the one that's all the rage on the internet.
3-point percentage, point guards. Tyrese Halliburton, number 1, shooting 45% from 3. Ooh, guess who's second though?
This is for rookies, right?
Nope. Point guards, 3-point field goal percentage.
Oh, I know.
Halliburton's 44.9.
I think I have a pretty good guess. Is it Pritchard?
Yep. 44.8.
Yeah.
Guess who's third? Some would argue this is good company.
Steph?
Yep. Colin Sexton. Patrick Beverly is 5th. 41.7.
What?
He must have shot. Let me see attempts here. Oh, good God. 3-point attempts. Yeah, he shoots 4 a game. Here's the outlier. Percentage is one thing. Let's look at attempts. I'm going to read them off. You tell me who's who. 5.1, 5.1, 3.5, 11.5, 3.6, 1.7. Who do you think's the high and the low out of those guys I just mentioned?
This is a crazy guess. I'm going to say the 11 whatever was Steph.
Correct.
And then what was the lowest number? Was it 1 something?
Oh, my bad. That was made. It's 4.0 was Beverly.
Oh, okay.
1.7 made. Sexton is the lowest 3 point. No, excuse me. Pritchard is the lowest 3.5. So whatever. So if Pritchard goes 1 for 5 every night, he's right there. But no, man, the Kings are a fun team. I think we talked about them before. Ironically, wearing a Kings hat tonight, but Kings are a fun team. But here's the other weird thing I saw. They did go on a pretty good run. Like I said, it was like 7 in a row or 7 of 8, 8 and 9, something. And they're still not in the playoff seeding in the West. I think they're like 9th or 10th. So either that says how good the West is or how really poor the Kings were before that. But I'm a man of the people. If our listeners want me to talk about the Kings, we'll talk about the Kings. We just did. And De'Aaron Fox is pretty good.
Yep.
He was he Brown or Tatum's draft class? I always forget.
I think he was Tatum's.
I do too.
I want to say he was like
yeah. I don't think he's better than Tatum, but I think he's a solid player. He's up there.
Yeah.
Good whatever, sophomore, third year, fourth year player, whatever they are at this point. But no, I don't know. Celtics just put this weekend behind them. Get back. Hell of a weekend in DC from beginning to end over at the old Cap. One thing I took away from the game today too, because again, I pride ourselves on not deep diving into stats. I'm not a big fan of the logo. I really never noticed what it was today. Like the DC but the D is like the hand. Like,
oh yeah, that's weird,
right? Yeah, it's so stupid. And then Russell Westbrook, I forget, is stuck in. There's a lot of dudes just stuck in Washington, specifically Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. Because the other thing, Russell Westbrook is still right there at averaging a triple double this year. I think his points are a little low, alarmingly, like 19, but he's like 8 and 9 on assists and steals. Hold on, let me get this right so Leahy doesn't yell at us. 1 second.
It's just crazy how low his shooting percentages are.
It's not great.
Impressive even for Russell Westbrook.
Impressive for a volume shooter. Yeah, impressively low for a volume shooter. 19.9 points, 9 boards, 9 assists. So he's right there at averaging another triple-double for the season.
I want to say that his field goal, 3-point, and free throw was something like 30, and then still in the 30s, and then randomly like in the high 50s or low 60s for free throw percentage. So he just forgot how to shoot this year.
He airballed one today.
I did see that, and
made great.
He looked surprised.
He looked downright perplexed.
Yeah,
at what just happened. That was great. That was phenomenal. It was probably the best part of the game. Now I think about it.
Yeah, his facial expression.
At least getting that screenshot. Yeah, that was great. So we got a couple other things on the docket. I don't know which one you want to go to first. We wanted to talk about, since it's Valentine's Day, athletes who are not getting enough love as they should, and then love to the other extent, too much. No more rivalries. Everyone's best friends. Let's go that way first. I think you wanted to lead that discussion. And this kind of started, we've been hinting at this before. A lot of it, like the example we always use is Draymond and LeBron in that clutch money. And Draymond and LeBron used to dislike each other, which is understandable. They played in the finals for like 10 years in a row. And now, boy, Draymond is right there, ready to go. Anytime LeBron does something good.
Yeah.
Cheerleader Draymond.
You might question, like, how is this physically possible for another grown man to fit here? But usually he's swinging from in between LeBron's legs after every single tweet or public interaction. I saw the other one was, I think it was LeBron got the warning for flopping the other night.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that?
Big flop.
Ridiculous flop. New York flop. LA flop. Shout out Prez.
Yeah.
He got the warning, and the video was on Twitter, and Draymond was just like, "Man, stop it, Bron," with like an exclamation point. It's like, damn, where the fuck did this go? Like 5 years ago, you guys actually hated each other, but now
that was a great
you're
time
signed to Clutch.
That was a great time. Like those parades were great.
Yeah.
Draymond had the quickie shirt, and then Bron had the Ultimate Warrior shirt. Like that was fun. Like that's how it should go. Like you guys are competing. If you care this much about a championship, you should care that much about making sure the opponent doesn't get said championship. You know what I mean? Like that's the definition of a rivalry and like a feud, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And those are just far and few between now. Everyone's best friends.
I thought the craziest part is how it started, which was that game. It was the 3-1 year. So 2016.
Yep.
Wow. A lot of things happened 2016.
Great year.
Until November. Then, well, we know what happened then. But yeah, that was the 3-1 year.
Yeah.
And in game 5, that was when Draymond got ejected and then suspended for game 6.
Get him out of here. Get that son of a bitch off the field.
Yep. Yeah, he was suspended for game 6 because he kicked someone in the nuts. And that was also the same time where part of it
did he not kick LeBron? I forget. I thought it was LeBron, no?
Maybe it was LeBron and it wasn't a kick in the nuts, but it was when LeBron was like, one of them stepped over the
Draymond definitely kicked someone in the nuts.
Yeah, he did, but I think that he kicked Steven Adams earlier in the previous round.
Yes. I forgot which nuts.
So whatever happened with LeBron was just all right, dude, like this is instance number whatever. So one of them stepped over the other one. That's right. LeBron or Draymond. Right. Mm-hmm. And then what came out afterwards was LeBron was like, yeah, he called me a bitch, and LeBron acted like he couldn't believe that. He said, like, I'm a father of 3. You don't call another man that on the court. And I was like,
I've read The Godfather multiple times. This is not how you conduct business.
Yeah, I'm on page 5 of the Malcolm X autobiography, and
no spoilers, but no thanks.
So that was when I was like, what the fuck is LeBron talking about? But that was really when they started hating each other, and they legitimately did hate each other. Because I remember that was also the year,
the Halloween party.
Oh no. That was the Halloween party, but also the previous title year of the Warriors was when Draymond and Clay were like super drunk and high. And they were just like, they were really rubbing it in versus the Cavs. Yeah.
But what was the first year? So I'm just trying to think back here. So the first year they won, that was the year before 73-9, right? Yeah. Where they were just good and they just beat the Cavs.
Yep.
Then they went 73-9. That was Steph's unanimous MVP year, right?
Yep.
And then they lost. And that was, who did the Halloween thing? Was that the Cavs mocking the Warriors or vice versa?
Yes. I think it was the Cavs mocking
that the year, right?
Yep.
Was that also Ultimate Warrior shirt at the parade? Or was that a different one?
That had to have been that one.
When was the Quickie? Was that the last one when they swept them?
I want to say that the Quickie was the first one.
They didn't sweep them though, did they?
I don't think any of them were sweeps, were they?
The last year definitely was.
Oh, it was?
2018. The last one was.
It wasn't that year. So it was either the first year or the 2016, 2017 one.
Whatever. Either way, that was an established rivalry. They did not like each other.
Yeah, they hate each other.
And then you threw Durant into the mix too.
Now, a few years later, I don't know when Draymond signed with LeBron's agency.
That's the thing. It's not LeBron's fucking company. It's not LeBron's company, but it pretty much is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So never forget what I just said.
He's friends with everyone that's signed to
I'll say this. He's a very loud, silent partner.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure they play some of his pregame speeches in their Monday morning huddles.
He's an outspoken silent partner. I think their sales pitch is, we can offer a lot. We're a family here. Did I mention LeBron's here too? Did you not see the LeBron poster?
That'd be funny. Like a quarterly review and LeBron comes in. or like once or twice a year. They're like, all right, like we got to get everything in order. Make sure your cubicle is looking nice because the big guy's coming.
Yeah. Oh, who? Mr. Clutch? No. Mr. James.
Yeah, no, Mr. Clutch's boss, Mr. James.
Yeah, I don't know. Clutch is a weird organization. But so where did you want to go with this? The other rivalries?
Yeah, there were some other good ones that are just between like a lot of these have the same players, which just tells you that like some of these players are dickheads, and that's why no one likes them. Sure. The first one that I had is just these two, is the Giannis versus Harden one.
That was a good one from the All-Star draft.
Yeah. And that happened because Giannis, they were doing that live draft on TV on TNT, and he got down to like, no, it obviously wasn't one of his last players, but he said that he needed a point guard, and it was him drafting versus LeBron. And the obvious two choices were James Harden or Kemba Walker. He chose Kemba. I think this is 2019.
Celtics did too.
Yeah.
Great choice. Go ahead.
And so he chose him, and then Charles Barkley was like, "Oh, you didn't want the dribbler? You didn't want dribble."
Ooh.
And Giannis is like, "No, I'm good. I want a playmaker or something like that." And then later the same season was when I think Rachel Nichols was interviewing Harden, and they were probably in the MVP race together.
Yep.
And she asked him, what he thought about Giannis, and he was like, "Well, like without naming any names or whatever, but it's not that much skill to be 7 foot tall and just taking one or two dribbles and dunking on everyone. Like what I do is actual skill." So shots were fired, and then
was that the year Harden won MVP? So when Harden, Giannis, right?
Yeah, I want to say it was.
I think it was, because it wasn't 2 years ago, was it? Maybe it was. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
whatever. It honestly doesn't matter. But yeah, that was good. But it's like these are the examples we're looking at for like what rivalries in sports are now, which is telling.
The only ones I have a few. The only ones that like ever escalated to something physical. So, no, this was never physical. I did have Russ versus Dame, but Russell Westbrook just like in the playoffs hates everyone, and then he does dumb shit like stare at them.
He's trying to win a very important game. Like,
he'll do something dumb like
concept now.
I want to say that one time like Dame's shoe came off on defense, and then Westbrook picked it up and threw it into like the first row. Pat Beverly versus Russell Westbrook is a pretty good one, because
Pat Beverly's a pain in the ass.
That started when Russ was still in Oklahoma City, because I remember there was a play where the Thunder were about to call a timeout. They got the ball, and Westbrook just had to dribble it past half court to call for a timeout. And as he was calling for it, he was by the scorer's table because they just want to they're close to the bench usually.
Yeah.
Beverly basically checked him into the scorer's table, and it fucked up Westbrook's knee for the rest of that postseason. And ever since then, they had a back and forth.
Yep.
And then I remember, I'm sure you've seen this clip, but it was when Westbrook played for the Rockets last year. They were Rockets played the Clippers, and afterwards, I think James Harden had 46, and Beverly was guarding Westbrook and Harden most of the game. And Westbrook, I think he was unprovoked, said something like, "Yeah, like Pat Beverly trick y'all, man. Like he just out there running around doing nothing." He was like, "Yeah, let me look at the box score. Yeah, hey, all that talk, and he got 46 put on him." So
yeah,
and yeah, everyone hates
more than fair.
Pat Beverly.
Yeah, Pat Beverly's the worst.
Steph doesn't like him.
Nah, he's the
Dame
worst.
definitely doesn't like him, who I listed here.
Nah, he's the worst. He talks a lot, runs around, just like you just described. He talks a lot and he runs around, and he plays that kind of defense, like hustle defense. But how efficient is it if you get killed? Like, what are you going to do?
The one that I listed here, PG versus Dame, that was kind of funny because that went to Instagram. I don't remember the exact comments, but they basically face each other.
Go ahead, but yeah.
They faced each other in that series.
Well, Dame walked him off in the playoffs before, which is all-time great moment.
Yeah,
and then
a game winner from like 40 feet.
That was so good. That was great. I think I said this on Twitter before. It's like every now and then I'll see a clip that makes me realize like how different it is with and without fans. And that was a big one. That was when he was like on the scorer's table and they got that classic photo. But still, like any play like that is great. But that carried over to the bubble last year. Is that what you're referring to? Like when the Blazers didn't make the playoffs? PG said something. And when the Clippers got knocked out, it was like Dame, McCollum, like they were all on Twitter, like roasting these guys. That was great.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I'm remembering specifically is when someone posted the shot of Dame, and then PG went when
that's a bad shot.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's not a good shot to take. It's like, all right, well that
worked out well.
Went in, so
yeah. Oh boy.
CP3 Rondo.
What did they do? I don't remember.
So that's a good one for the Celtics because I remember even
they actually got in a fight
on the Hornets,
right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So there's.
I'm thinking of that fight, when he was on the Rockets.
Yeah. So it's a long-standing feud. Like back when they were, back when Rondo was on the Celtics and Chris Paul was on the Hornets. I remember there was one game in like 2009, 2010 where they were walking off the court and they just kind of got into it after.
Yeah.
And at that point, I want to say that part of that may have had to do with Chris Paul was probably involved in some trade rumors with Rondo because those years Rondo and Ray Allen were just mentioned every year.
Yep.
And I think
Chris Paul was on the trade block most of his career.
Yeah. And I think that maybe it kind of like boiled over from that a little bit. And Rondo was just trying to prove who was better. But then, years later, 2018, LeBron's first season with the Lakers, Rondo's on the Lakers, Chris Paul's on the Rockets, and something happened on a fast break that wasn't between the two of them. I want to say it was between like Brandon Ingram and James Harden. But either way, it ended up being like a big scuffle, and Rondo actually got in like 2 good punches on CP3.
Yeah, Rondo would actually fight, or he'd want to fight.
Yeah,
Chris Paul, I can't see wanting to fight.
No, if he did, like, oh my God, he would be such a bitch. Like,
he's the guy who's very quick to jump in and break a fight if he knows a fight's not going to actually happen. Yeah. But he would not want to get involved in a fight. Rondo, I don't think we give a fuck. Rondo has very long arms too. He could out punch a lot of. I think Chris Paul has relatively short arms.
I think so.
So tail of the tape would say he's kind of a stonky little point guard. He always has.
Yeah, very.
He's very stonky. Chris Robin Hood Paul.
He's.
I'll say this: I think Carlton or Alfonso Ribeiro is the perfect guy to have playing those State Farm commercials. He looks like Carlton. Carlton wasn't a little shrimp. Like he was short, but he was like a stonky little guy.
Yeah, same proportions.
Very, very proportionate to each other. Like if they were gonna do a Fresh Prince reboot, and Chris Paul wants to dip his pen in acting, I'd cast him.
Yeah,
consider it.
Chris from State Farm.
Yeah, but you had some more. You did have some examples of some recent rivalries. Maybe some more off the, not the norm.
Yeah,
go ahead, enlighten us.
Ben Simmons is a great point guard.
He's 6'9",
can see the floor, plays great defense. I guess he called himself the best defender in the NBA yesterday.
I heard that.
Devin Booker had something to say about it.
Oh boy.
And I do like Ben Simmons, aside from him being a Sixer, but he's got a great rivalry.
Sure does. Timeless.
Yes. And I don't think this will ever end. And it happens in every game, which is like the sign of the best rivalry.
Yep.
He's got a huge rivalry with the Rim.
Oh boy, do they hate each other.
Yeah.
Those guys don't want to meet.
That's a loud rivalry.
Especially when Ben is, sending that text outside of 5 to 6 feet away.
Oh yeah.
They aren't meeting up anytime soon.
From I was going to say.
He doesn't even make the call from 3. Not even worth it. Sorry. Next.
Those are two people or whatever that have no issues social distancing.
Further the better.
That was one. Brad Stevens. You would think, what kind of coach has a rivalry? What kind of coach in 2021 has a rivalry?
I can't think of one for the life of me.
Yeah, you would say that. He does have a rivalry. And that's with managing star talent.
Oh boy. Not one and the same.
Those two do not see eye to eye.
Nope. Never
Kyrie,
happened. Never will. It's not even star talent anymore. I just don't think he likes coaching employed NBA players at this point.
Anyone who averages more than like 14 points a game, I think Brad's like,
sit your ass down.
Yeah, you're getting a little too peppy over there.
Semi, fucking sling it. Go ahead. Yeah, boy, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a good
Show them
look.
what we've been working on in practice, Taco.
Hey, Taco, you warm? You're in. Coach, it's 3 minutes in the first quarter. Did I stutter? You're in. Yeah, I don't know. Boy, not a good weekend for big game Brad. Big shot Brad.
To a lesser extent, another Celtic, Daniel Tice.
Okay.
And again, a role player. Who could he possibly have a meaningful rivalry?
Role player who happens to start, but go ahead.
Yeah, I forget that. He's got a rivalry with the Zebras, the men with the whistles.
I was going to say, you surely can't mean the zoo animals. We know Germany is known for their zoos and their love for animals. But yeah, the refs, nah, he ain't never going to happen.
He just needs to figure out that, like, I don't know.
He's not Hakeem
The complaining isn't going to work, even if it's legit. So just shut your mouth. What
if the complaining is in German and it's just a language barrier? Did your ignorant little ass ever think about that? God.
That's possible.
Soapy, these colors don't run pre-app. You ever think there's language outside of English?
Good. You're right. I've got to unnarrow my mind. Yeah,
Daniel, I'm sorry. I have no idea what you're saying. Can we just run it back, please? I've been giving you a 3-second warning for the last 2.5 minutes. Can you get out of the paint, Daniel, please? Habla out of the paint. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you set that pick at the free throw line and you ended up moving the guy to the 3-point line. I have to call something.
Daniel, I have to blow my whistle. I'm going to lose my job.
You know what? You realize these games are televised, right? Like people will
Brad,
see this.
Doc, this timeout's on me. I'm calling one. Official timeout. Dan, let's talk. Danny, my office. Yeah, I don't know. He's and again, this is becoming more and more normal for players to not get a call and then just look absolutely flabbergasted. But it's every time with Daniel Tice. Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. The only other one I had was a more up and coming one, but it's becoming a trend. It's pretty much Shaquille O'Neal and every other player who's not Shaquille O'Neal, who was drafted post 2000. Like, does he like anybody in the NBA? Like, is anyone good enough for sure?
I think he only likes Shaq.
And Kobe.
Well, yes. But what I meant to say was I think he only likes Steph and LeBron. So basically the two guys who have
to be
most of the last 10 titles.
Yeah. Ugh. You have sub 3 rings. I'm calling you out. And I wanted you to hear this. I'm glad you're on the call, Donovan. I wanted you to hear this.
Yeah.
Step your shit up.
I'm just making you better.
First place in the West. Not good enough, big fella. Come on. All right. Okay. Those are great reactions. I think like Christian Wood was a good one. Donovan Mitchell was obviously great. Versus like Donovan.
Oh my God, that Christian.
I called you out. I wanted you to hear this. I told you to step it up, and I'm glad you heard it. Okay. Like, what do you want me to say? Yeah, you're right, Shaq. Like, I'm a bitch. I suck. Sorry. Yeah, Christian was good. Nah, it's casuals. You're casual.
Next. Yeah, Shaq was like, yeah, to be honest, man, I wasn't really familiar with you, or I'd never heard of you. And Christian was like, oh, really?
Yeah. Thanks.
Casual.
No, thank you for having me on your show. This is great. Boy, what I would give to get home and like FaceTime my wife and kids. But no, seriously, I'm glad to be here. Next question.
I had a similar one.
Come on, guys. God, go ahead.
The only other one I had was another Celtics one. It's recently retired Celtics players not making comments that are just subtle and not hot takey, aka Kendrick Perkins and Paul Pierce.
Yeah,
I think Pierce, maybe they told him to scale it down or something. And really, he only had 2 big ones, but they were big, which was when he said that he had a better. He said that he had a better career than D Wade, and everyone was like, "Oh, Paul Pierce said that he's better than D Wade." And then the second one was that he listed his top 5 of all time and didn't put LeBron in there.
That one I remember. That one's unexcusable.
Yeah.
The D Wade though one, I don't know. I mean, do you think they're that far off as far as their careers go? I'd probably give the edge to Dwayne Wade, but it's like Paul Pierce isn't a bum.
Yeah, I think if you're asking me what,
but again, this is coming from Paul Pierce, so it's a little different when it's one of the person involved. But go ahead.
I think it's just a matter of fact versus perception. Which, what is the perception? Yeah, I know the perception is that D Wade is much better, but what's the fact? I don't think it's as far as apart as people would like to say.
So I mean, I think Dwayne. You're saying Dwayne Wade's a better player than Paul Pierce, had a better career. Yeah, me too. But I don't know. Take away playing with LeBron. It's one ring to one ring, and then everything else. I don't know. I think it was an interesting. It was also an interesting conversation because it's like that was the first time I heard those two really compared to each other. Not that it's a bad comparison. It's not, but it's just weird for one of the parties involved to be making the comparison or like making the argument one way or the other. I don't know. And then Perk is just at this point, I used to think Perk was kind of out there. I just think he's pretty funny at this point. I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He jumps on Twitter, says a hot take, carry on, ... And then it's actually
carry the hell on.
Yeah. But that's like national Perk. There's national Perk and then there's local Perk.
Yeah.
Like local Perk I like because he'll jump off on the Celtics game. And if they lose, he'll shit on them. If they win, he'll praise them. But national Perk is like, I can't keep up with who he likes and who he doesn't like. I don't know. It's a people pleaser. Or he'll just say something a little ridiculous. And then I think he thinks if he can just say carry on at the end, it's like, it just washes out what he says. Like,
yeah, that's like saying no offense to him.
Yeah, carry on. Nah, Suns Knicks in the finals. Carry on. But you're not ready for that conversation. ... Whatever.
I would say that Perk is more entertaining. I think Pierce has scaled it back a little bit, and Pierce, some would call a very underappreciated athlete of all time.
Sure would. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's a good transition. I think that was the other thing we want to talk on today. I've heard this before. It's like there's underappreciated and there's underrated. Everything I've found online is more along the lines of like underrated athletes, which is fine. There's plenty of underrated athletes, but to keep this somewhat brief, I just think there's guys that I consider like underappreciated. I wrote down a few. I'll start here. Since we transition from basketball, let's stay there. And I think this goes to say how good this person is. I hate to say it. I still think Steph Curry is an underappreciated NBA player. And he has 3 rings, a unanimous MVP, another MVP. I think you can argue his style changed the landscape of basketball. And I just feel like I don't think he's really talked about the way he should as far. Because I think when you get to a certain point in your career, you can be talked about as an all-time great. Like LeBron, like I don't know who else is there right now. KD, Steph. Who am I missing? That's probably pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
Kawhi's not there yet. Semi's not there yet. Yet. Maybe Westbrook, I guess. Oh, Chris Paul, I guess, is there now. Westbrook, I guess, is there now.
Melo, unfortunately.
Melo, I just remembered, is still in the league, so he's technically there.
If Abdel Nader comes back, that will formally make him there.
But I think Steph. I think. Do you think Steph is like a top 10 player of all time?
Yeah, I do.
I do too. But like that, I don't really think that's very talked about. I think it's very heavy LeBron. And then now it's like, I think people are so recency biased. Like the big narrative is guys like, well, yes, LeBron, but like, Kawhi, Giannis, Harden, Durant. I think Durant, you could argue, is the top 10 player of all time as well. I don't know. I just think he's done a lot for the game. That's another one that I don't know if this was trending on Twitter or something, but it was, was it Magic Johnson who brought this up? Someone. It was like most influential players of all time. And I think Steph has to be there.
Yep.
Not Steph, then just the Warriors in general, but maybe look a little closer to the best player on the Warriors, which is Steph. Like the game of basketball is different now than it was prior to 2015. or 14, whenever the Warriors started winning titles.
And not because of Zaza Pachulia on the Warriors, just to clarify.
I don't know. Some would argue sticking your foot under a shooter when they go up is good defense.
That may have changed the course of history. I don't think the Spurs are going to win that, but like,
nah,
they had the best chance. But yeah, anyways.
I think Steph's up there. There are two players I wanted to bring up for one of our valued customers and listeners is Stats.
Oh boy.
One is Tim Duncan. I think Tim Duncan I think he's regarded as one of the greatest players of all time, but it doesn't, and we've talked, I know you and I have talked, and this person we're referring to has talked about this before. Tim Duncan isn't, it doesn't make any sense to you actually look at his, this little mom and pop up and coming website, basketballreference.com. If you look at his basketballreference.com.
Do they have a GoFundMe, by the way, that we can donate to?
No, they're just all grassroots.
Wow.
He's in the Hall of Fame. Not bad. He was a 15-time All-Star. Let me start here. 5 rings, Rookie of the Year, 2-time MVP, 15 All-NBA. Not 15-time All-Star, 15 All-NBA.
That's ridiculous.
Dude, 15-time All-Defensive Team. He was an All-Star MVP. 3 of his 5 rings, he was the Finals MVP. He was the Rookie of the Year. He was also one of the very rare players who spent his entire career with one team, the San Antonio Spurs. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. 15 All-NBA teams and 15 All-Defensive teams. And he has 5 rings. He has 1 less ring than Michael Jordan. And if it wasn't for a potentially one-in-a-lifetime Ray Allen shot, he could have as many rings as Michael Jordan. And people, when they think Tim Duncan, they think boring, fundamentals, and he wore pretty baggy clothes.
Baggy clothes.
He is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most decorated players in NBA history. Oh, and he played during one of the better eras of basketball of all time. He played in the late 90s through the mid-2000s. So he played Mike, he played LeBron, he played Kobe, he played Shaq, played the Pistons, played the Heatles, and towards the end of the career ran into the Warriors. That's I don't know what else to say about this guy.
And I'm also pretty sure, I'd have to double check this, I'm pretty sure that he didn't start playing basketball until high school because he was a swimmer.
Yeah, he has a weird story like that. He's from
being born in like the St. John or St. Thomas Virgin Islands.
St. Croix. Like, and he's a silent partner in LaCroix flavored water. Like, what else does he need this guy to do?
Oh man, I would love for him to have had that 6th championship because number one, that gives LeBron 1 less.
Yep.
So LeBron would be at 3. And then it also makes the conversation.
LeBron has 3. Yep.
Yeah, it would make that conversation of not who's better between Duncan and Jordan, but then people would be like, well, now LeBron is also chasing Tim Duncan.
Yeah, but when have you ever heard that talked about? LeBron is chasing Tim Duncan.
Yeah, that's fair. It is still 5-4.
Yeah, he is chasing Tim Duncan. That you've never heard Duncan MJ, Duncan LeBron, Duncan Shaq. He's just that guy who quietly, very quietly, dominated the 2000s. He was the best player. He was the best player on the best dynasty for multiple decades.
He also, I'm curious how they list him when they did the All NBA thing, but he played in such a good big man era.
Oh my God.
So for him to win that every time,
15 times. How many years did he play in the NBA? He played,
let's say like 19.
Let me see, 97 to 2015, 18 years.
Yep.
And then I think you could probably argue his last 3 years, he was just kind of there. During his playing years, he was an All-NBA player every season. He didn't have a year off.
Yeah.
How many MVPs? Just 2? Just 2? Where was MVP years? Yeah, he made an All-Star his rookie year, missed it his sophomore year, and then was an All-Star and an All-NBA from 99 to 2013. Not the worst I've ever seen. And he routinely, his position I noticed changed from power forward to center in 06. I guess that's fair, but I mean, I consider him a power forward his whole career. I mean,
yeah, because people always rank him as like the greatest power forward of all time.
Probably the best power forward of all time.
Yeah.
I don't like, how do you, he's one of the players where it's like the opposite of kind of like how we base this show. We talk a lot about like not diving into the numbers. Like, what do we see on the court? No, this guy's the opposite. Like, this guy looked like just your average guy on the court, but he just put up numbers all the time. And he was the number 1 overall pick.
Without
the Celtics. But what are you going to do?
Because I think you have it there. Can I try to guess his career averages?
Sure. I got him right here, buddy.
I'm going to say 23, 12, and 2.5.
So this is where like his last year's kind of hurt him. His technical career averages are 19, 19 and 11.
Okay.
But his last year, he averaged 8 points a game, 13, 15. During his prime, he was no less than 22 and definitely 10, but more like he had 1 year at 10.6. Everything else was closer to 11.3 and up. He was 20 and 10 consistently. That's not common. It was like
the most
him,
consistent
KG,
double-double.
and Shaq. I think were like 20 and 10 guys for the like routinely. And though again, he was competing with all those guys at the same time. So yeah, I'd say him. And then what else did I have for basketball? I don't want to dive in too deep here because it was a guy neither you and I watched. But I feel like just due to his last name, this guy's incredibly slept on. But Moses Malone is far better than Karl Malone, but everyone knows Karl Malone.
Yeah.
And then I put this one in here for our producer. I think Dirk Nowitzki is a little underappreciated too. I've said it before. I think he's been a consistently very good player. In the three of us would know better than most people. Had a very impressive finals run.
2011.
We were there firsthand. Yeah. And then the last one, I did have a late edition, loosely based on what we talked about today. I think Russell Westbrook is underappreciated. If you look at regular season stats, I think if it wasn't for somehow triple doubles got normalized due to Russell Westbrook over the past like 5 or 6 years. But I've said this before on the show. Let me pull up his now. He's another stats guy. I think he averaged a triple-double 3 years in a row.
He did.
I don't want to speak for you, but I've never done that. And I consider myself a top-tier basketball player.
I haven't done it, but it's also because I haven't really wanted to.
It's weird because if you look at Basketball Reference, they bold your stats if you led the league that year. Casually, during that run, led the league in scoring twice and led the league in assists twice. One of which was his last year in OKC. It's only 3 years ago. And even his year in Houston last year, 27 points, 7 assists, 8 boards. Like
that's basically that's LeBron's career line right there. So that's pretty good.
He's not going to get a ring, but he's been to a finals. He's been to just one conference finals, right? With OKC.
Yeah.
They blew the 3-1 lead.
Yep.
So it's not like he's not like Carmelo or Chris Paul, who's just not playing in the playoffs. Like he's there. I think he's going to go down as one of the best point guards of all time. But I don't know. Some people are selfish.
It's very impressive.
I get it. He's a stat patter, but it's different than, I don't know. Like, I think I remember and again, I've watched a lot more Rondo than Westbrook. There were games when Rondo was padding his stats, when he would pass up wide open layups to throw it behind his back to fucking, I don't know, Luke Herringody at the 3-point line to take a shot because he had 9 assists with 2 minutes left. Westbrook will dog you to get a rebound. Like, he will box out, like, I don't know, Dwight Howard to get a rebound if he needs it.
Yeah, and then kill you if you decide to get the rebound instead of letting him get it.
Didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. Similar to like when Kobe would see someone else shoot, just in general.
Yeah.
Didn't like that at all. Not a fan. He would call a timeout and then push Phil to the side and say, "We're talking."
Extrapolate that to the rest of his
captain now.
Put that out to like the rest of Kobe's life when he's not like playing an actual Lakers game. Imagine him just driving through LA and he sees a playground game and just sees the sight of seeing someone else shoot.
Check ball.
Whoa. What the fuck's going on here?
Did you have any others from basketball that stood out to
you? Pierce was really my only one.
Pierce is a good one, I think. I just hope that's not too much of a homer take. I don't really know what the general consensus on Paul Pierce is.
People just think that he rode KG's coattails to the one title that he got.
You think that's how it goes?
I think people do respect that he was a good player. I think the biggest thing.
Do you have KG over Pierce, like comfortably all time?
Who's a better player, or who do I like more?
Better player.
KG is definitely better. I like Pierce more. But here's what I was going to say that I think.
But you see 08 as like Pierce bringing in players to get him a championship? Because I always thought Pierce was the leader on that 08. Well, you know what I mean? Like I still like you think Kevin Garnett was by far the best player on that Celtics team?
On the title run. Yeah, I think so, just because of defense.
Yeah. Okay. I think he's had a better career, better player, but I don't see it as like riding a coattails thing. I thought in the final, I think Pierce was the clear leader and captain of that team in the finals.
Well, so this is the argument that I see all the time is that anytime someone praises Pierce, they'll be like, all right, well, put in X. Like, let's say it's Melo is usually the guy he gets compared to a lot. They'll be okay, put Melo on that 08 team, and they probably would have won multiple titles. And it's like, all right, I don't believe that.
I don't think that either, actually.
But a lot of people do say that. And whatever, I think they just look at the numbers. But I was going to say, before Garnett got there, Pierce is putting up crazy numbers. And I don't think outside of New England, people appreciate how clutch he was.
Oh, hell yeah.
That fucking free throw jumper, free throw line extended was automatic. And I always think that after Kobe, you could say that Pierce was the most clutch for like a 10-year stretch.
Definitely. And then when did they go to the conference finals against the Nets? That was not
2002.
Oh, that long ago? Damn.
Yeah.
That was like the Twan Kenny Anderson years.
Yep. Chibs.
Wow. So I guess there were some dark days between then and then. That's fair. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I could consider Pierce. Like I said, it's tough with Celtics because I don't know how they're perceived nationally. Like to me, like Pierce is like a Mount Rushmore type of player, but that's just because I'm a Celtics fan. KG, not so much because I knew KG before coming in. Same with like Ray Allen and all those guys. Carmelo is actually a pretty good comparison. But again, like I said about Russell Westbrook, it's tough to judge guys like Carmelo who have no playoff memories.
Yeah.
T-Mac's the same way. You know what I mean? T-Mac might be the best player out of all of them, but what are we basing this on? What's the benefit of being a great basketball player if it doesn't like correlate to anything?
Then another guy until like recent memory where it was like, dude, you should retire is Vince Carter. I think people would have put him in that conversation, but then eventually, like, because he was playing so long, it's like, all right, now you're just putting up 6 points a game for the last 6 seasons.
Yeah, that's actually a good one to look up. I bet his career numbers suck. And again, he never really was a numbers guy, I don't think.
No, he would put up points, but everything else is pretty average.
8-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA.
He never got further than the conference finals.
Nah, you don't. Like with who? Like Toronto? No.
Orlando against the Celtics.
Oh yeah. And then when we went to New Jersey, that was after like the finals run, New Jersey team, right?
Yep.
Nah. God, I will say though, I saw this on YouTube recently. Those were some sick. It was early 2000s, like Raptors Sixers series, or then like Raptors. Maybe it was the Magic. I don't know. Was Was he playing against T-Mac when he was still in Toronto? Must have been for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I
think prime T-Mac was when he was moving over to New Jersey.
No, Vince was still in Toronto
that
for
early?
some of that.
Yeah. The specifically the Sixers Raptor series was unreal. Just seeing those two guys play to like 6 or 7 games was crazy. But yeah, dude, look at this shit. Like this says it all. Just looking at like the different jerseys he has on his thing. It's crazy. It's like, and I love Vince Carter's my favorite player in the NBA of all time. But it's just crazy. Way too much.
Those are definitely some of the best like nostalgic moments. Is his highlights.
He's been all over the place. Nets, Magic, Suns.
Yep.
1 year in the Suns.
Grizzlies.
Dallas, Grizzlies, Kings, and then a couple years with Atlanta. So his career totals 16 points, 4.3 rebounds, 3.1 assists. That's not Hall of Fame numbers, not even close.
No.
But if you look at his peak, even his peak.
He averaged 27 once, right?
27.6 was his highest. He's only hit 27 twice. But he was routinely 25, 27, 24, 22, 24. Yeah, he would score. But he was a highlight player. And he was very good at that.
Also, now it doesn't matter as much for like present day players, but I remember being like so annoyed that eventually he just went from the highlight guy, and this is while he was with New Jersey. Actually, it even started in Toronto. He went from the highlight guy and driving to he was just like a big time volume 3-point shooter.
Yeah, that's it. That's definitely New Jersey. Yep. And he was always, he's always a good shooter, but you're right. He less dunking, more shooting towards like the middle end of his career.
Always been our motto.
Yeah. The only one I put down for baseball, just because I saw this on a number of lists online, I never really thought about it till I actually looked into it. And this is similar to the Steph Curry argument.
I know where this is going, I think. And I don't know. Oh, okay.
What were you going to say?
I guess.
What?
I thought you were going to say Jeter.
No, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And I think Griffey is much better than Jeter. But Jeter is just very decorated. He's a Yankee. Again, I think it does help your case when you have that argument that you were like one place the whole time. You know, you are like Jeter's a Yankee, Duncan's a Spur, whoever else. Griffey obviously not. But yeah, Jeter, I definitely know what you mean with Jeter. I don't think he's overrated. I think his career is summed up on a lot, like a handful of memorable plays, and then just consistently like getting hits. Like, you know what I mean? Like he would consistently hit a lot, which I guess you could argue is good. But he would also
annoying that he would just like slap it over the second baseman all the time.
He was probably him and Ichiro are the best singles hitters I've ever seen.
Yeah,
they were a guaranteed single. But Jeter defensively was fun to watch. And he also played in what I think was one of the funnest eras in sports in general, with just him, A-Rod, and Nomar playing shortstop. Mm-hmm. That was so fun to watch on it. Like those routines.
And David Eckstein. And Miguel Tejada.
Fourth place. Yeah.
He was obviously the next tier.
It was those three locally. Like just those routine, like reach over stops, literally with a foot in the outfield, and then just the throw to first.
Yeah.
Like those were so fun. But yeah, Jeter's very good. But Griffey, it's like I said, very similar to Steph. I think Griffey is looked at one of the greatest players of all time, Hall of Fame or whatever. But people were saying he's still overshadowed. We talked about this on an episode before by like the steroid guys.
Yeah.
He played with McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, all that stuff. And in that 30 for 30 we talked about before with the home run race in 98, Griffey was right there up until like June or July. And then they either upped their dosage or something. Like they just started, those other two just started hitting.
We got to get more
at an alarming rate. Let's try one in each cheek this time. This Griffey kid is catching up. Good.
This is just me kind of spitballing. I wonder if part of the reason that Griffey isn't as appreciated as we would like is because maybe some people that take away from him are like, yeah, he was very good, but maybe you guys are thinking too much of also how cool he was to the average fan.
I guess.
So I wonder if that's part of it, kind of like the Steph thing.
Nah, like
No, and I don't agree with that, but I think
I
think
know
that's
what you
a
mean.
lot
I
of
think it's
detractors
fair.
would say.
He's easily the coolest one, obviously.
Yeah, number one, he's black. Number two, the backwards hat. Number three, the earring.
Yep.
He had the awesome looking swing.
Yep.
I
He was
think those
great.
uniforms
He
are
was very
pretty
good.
cool.
He was a very cool outfielder. He made a lot of cool plays.
Did
made
he
a lot
hit
of highlight reel plays.
630? I think 630 home runs. Not
Something like
bad
that.
at
Yeah.
630.
He batted 630 one year. No, he batted 630. It's so weird. It's one of the best stats in baseball. He batted 1,000 up until September, and then went hitless in September and finished the year at 630. And no one talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think.
Oh yeah, he was in that. Yeah, he was in that special. I forgot the McGuire and Sosa documentary.
Yeah,
I'm actually being serious.
Yeah, me too. He was right there till like June or July.
Yeah,
and something happened.
Guys, can we check the needles? Like, what's going on here?
Political show, but a bunch of home runs came in overnight. And no one could explain that.
Were they? Are you saying they're fraudulent?
All these mail-in home runs.
Are these home runs being hit by dead guys?
Buddy, 2 home runs in one game. Dead players. I don't know. Ironically enough, playing against the Atlanta Braves and at the Washington Nationals. I don't know. Last one will end here. And I didn't even think about this side of the argument till now. But there seems to be a trend here. There's another guy played his whole career one place, going into a little pigskin. There's plenty in football. The one that's always stood out to me is Larry Fitzgerald. I think Larry Fitzgerald is extremely underappreciated. Looking at his stats and like the actual numbers, I don't know if they're there. 11-time Pro Bowler. Only made All-Pro once, which is bonkers to me.
What?
But I guess if you break it down, this is on Pro Football Reference. I got fucked by Pro Football Reference one time before too with Phillip Rivers. Long story. Like the numbers, they weren't accurate. That cannot be right. So I'm going to Wikipedia. Hold on.
Your favorite source's favorite
source.
See,
Wikipedia says 2-time first team All-Pro. Fuck this. I've written on the same bullshit talking about Phillip Rivers. Pro Football Reference had him at, I'm going with Wikipedia before someone just hops on and actually tells me the correct answer. Because I'm gonna assume, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. 11-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro first team, 2-time All-Pro second team, led the league in catches twice, led the league in touchdowns twice. He's on the 100th anniversary all-time team. He won the Art Rooney Award. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that is anymore. Walter Payton Award, NFL 2010s All-Decade Team. Here's a big one. Was runner-up for the Heisman at Pittsburgh as a wide receiver. That'll never happen again. Unless that kid from Alabama won it this year, which he probably did. Big East Offensive Player of the Year. Has his number retired in college. But like Larry Fitzgerald has just always routinely been incredibly good, and he's been on some terrible teams with some terrible quarterbacks that somehow made it to a Super Bowl with Kurt Warner 2.0. Kurt Warner's actually 3.0 because he went to the Giants and then he went to the Cardinals. And here's the clip I wanted to mention as far as stats go. Stats are great throughout his career. 1,000 yards, most of his career, 100 catches, whatever. If you go to his playoff games, so he's been to the playoffs 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 4 years.
Playoffs?
Yeah, very same. 2008 was the playoffs against Pittsburgh, which I've said multiple times is one of the best Super Bowls of all time. But that 2008 year against the Steelers, let me just run through these game logs real quick. I'm going to go and they were a wild card team, so we played 4 of them. Games 1 through 4. Game 1. 6 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Next game, 8 catches, 166 yards, and a touchdown. Next game, light work. 9 catches, 152 yards, and 3 touchdowns in a 6-point win over the Eagles. Super Bowl Sunday, 7 catches, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and had maybe two of the bigger Super Bowl plays of all time, where he would literally just catch slants from Kurt Warner and run like 80 yards into the end zone. And if it wasn't for who the hell was it on the Steelers who made that catch? Santonio Holmes making one of the greatest Super Bowl plays of all time.
Santonio Mahomes.
My goodness. Could have had a ring. So that was that 1 year. Next year, 2009, I think it was still Kurt Warner. Might have been Carson Palmer. Not that it makes a difference. Won a crazy wild card weekend game against the Packers, 51-45. He had 6 catches, 182 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then came back the next game with a modest 6 catches, 77 yards, and 0 touchdowns in a loss against the Rams. What do we got here? And then he fell off a little bit until last year. No, I'm sorry, 2015. Last year he was in the playoffs. Again, Green Bay. These guys fucking kill Green Bay. 8 catches, 176 yards, and a touchdown against the Packers in 15. Either way, in the playoffs, 942 yards, 57 catches, 10 touchdowns in the playoffs. And he's still playing to this day, believe it or not. And he's still a productive player to this day. Finally has a decent quarterback, and he's probably too old to play for much longer. But again, you never really hear him talked about. He's just there. It's Larry Fitzgerald. But it's just timing. Like he played in the same era as Randy Moss, T.O., Calvin Johnson.
I wanted to confirm that this player that I'm thinking of like played a significant amount of time with him, and he did start while playing for the Cardinals. Derek Anderson.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro, he had some shit. Yeah, Derek Anderson, Carson Palmer, Kurt Warner. Who else? He had some other years where it's just like, this is not the look. But yeah, Larry Fitzgerald, very slept on. Give this man some credit. The other one that I didn't really think about nor care about but I see it come up on every time I Google like underrated players in the NFL is Marvin Harrison. Everyone writes about him. He's great. He's fine. He had fucking Peyton Manning throwing to him his entire career. Mm-hmm. So that's probably one of the big differences between Larry Fitzgerald and Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Played in the dome his whole career. He also was opposite Reggie Wayne his whole career, or a big part of his career. I think Larry Fitzgerald was opposite most recently Christian Kirk and John Brown. I don't know what else was there. Oh, and a washed up Anquan Bolden, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the one notable guy.
So I don't know. Maybe that's an argument worth noting. Who knows? Call me crazy. But yeah, that's that. Pretty good episode. Talked about a little dating, a little romance, a little rivalries. Celtics stink. Brad Stevens has been on the hot seat for 3 years, so who knows? And I think
he's a good guy. So I mean,
great guy. Gee Willikers.
Why
and then appreciate Larry Fitzgerald while he's here. Anything else before we sign off?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.